The alarm screamed through Viridian Station like angry birds. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Doyen looked up from his desk where he had been reading reports about a sick alien bird. He knew that sound. It was the emergency alarm, the one that only went off when something very bad happened. He grabbed his medical bag and ran toward the docking bay. His shoes made loud sounds on the metal floor. Other workers ran past him, going the opposite way. They were running away from the docking bay. That was never a good sign. When Doyen reached the main docking area, he saw smoke and broken metal everywhere. A cargo ship had crashed through the bay doors. The ship's hull was torn open like someone had ripped paper. Fuel leaked onto the floor. Emergency teams sprayed foam on small fires. But that was not what made everyone stop and stare. Inside the broken ship, something moved. Something big. Something that made sounds like metal scraping against stone. The creature was huge, easily 3 times the size of a human. It had 6 legs, each ending in claws as long as kitchen knives. Its body was covered in dark armor that looked like thick scales. 2 heads on long necks swayed back and forth. Both heads had too many teeth. Blood dripped from wounds on its side. The creature was hurt badly. It tried to stand but fell. It made a sound that hurt Doyen's ears. The sound was pain and anger mixed together. Yuna ran up beside Doyen. She was breathing hard. Yuna was the station administrator and Doyen's closest friend. They had both come from Earth 2 years ago. She looked at the creature and her face went pale. "Is that a thornback ravager?" she asked. "I think so," Doyen said. He had seen pictures in his textbooks. Thornback ravagers came from Krath 7, a planet so dangerous that most species refused to even visit it. They were apex predators. They ate other predators. The station's head veterinarian arrived. His name was Kixtal. He was a Veltraxian, which meant he looked like a tall lizard walking on 2 legs. His scales were usually bright blue, but now they turned pale white. That meant he was scared. Kixtal looked at the creature for exactly 3 seconds. Then he stepped back. "No," he said. His voice shook. "Absolutely not. We cannot treat that thing. It's dying," Doyen said. "Look at those wounds. It needs help now." "It is an apex predator from a death world," Kixtal said. Each word came out sharp. "Even injured, it could kill everyone in this bay. We will sedate it from a distance. Give it something for the pain. Let it die peacefully. That is the only safe option." Other veterinary staff nodded. There were 5 of them from 4 different species. None of them would look at the creature for long. One of them, a small furry being named Trix, was actually shaking. "We have to at least try," Doyen said. "We're doctors." We took oaths. "Oaths don't matter if you're dead," Kixtal shot back. "That creature's species has no natural predators. Do you understand what that means? Nothing on its entire planet can kill it. It is designed by evolution to be a perfect killer. Its bite can crush steel. Its claws can tear through armor. And you want to get close to it?" Doyen looked at the creature again. It was trying to get up and failing. One of its legs was clearly broken. Blood pooled under its body. Its eyes, it had 4 eyes per head, 8 total, were starting to lose focus. That was a bad sign in any species. "Someone has to help it," Doyen said quietly. "Then you are volunteering for suicide," Kixtal said. "I will not be part of this. I will not let my staff be part of this." Yuna grabbed Doyen's arm. Her grip was tight. "Doyen, please think about this. That thing is twice your size. Even hurt, even weak, it's still the most dangerous creature on this station. One swipe of those claws and you're dead." "I know," Doyen said. He did know. He was not stupid. He had worked with dangerous animals on Earth. Tigers, crocodiles, venomous snakes. But this was different. This was something from another world entirely. Still, when he looked at the creature, he did not see a monster. He saw an animal in pain. He saw intelligence in those eyes. Fear. Confusion. The creature did not know where it was or what had happened. It was scared and hurting. "I have to try," Doyen said. "I can't just watch it die." Kixtal made a hissing sound that meant disgust in his language. "Humans. I will never understand your species. You come from a death world yourselves, yet you insist on these acts of insanity." He turned to his staff. "Clear the bay. Anyone who wants to live, leave now." The veterinary staff did not need to be told twice. They gathered their equipment and left quickly. Only Yuna stayed behind, though Doyen could see she wanted to leave too. "I'll help you prepare," she said. "But Doyen, if this goes wrong..." "I know," he said. "Thank you for staying." They moved to the equipment lockers. Doyen pulled out everything he might need. Surgical tools, bandages, antibiotics that worked on multiple alien biologies, pain medication, scanning equipment to check for internal injuries. Everything went into his medical bag. The creature made another terrible sound. It was getting weaker. Blood loss was taking its toll. You need a plan, Yuna said. You can't just walk in there. I won't, Doyen said. First rule of working with dangerous animals, never rush. Never surprise them. Never threaten them. And if it attacks anyway? Doyen did not answer that question. They both knew the answer. If the creature attacked, he would die. Simple as that. No weapon on the station could stop a thornback ravager quickly enough to save him. He finished packing his bag and walked toward the containment area. The station's emergency protocols had activated automatically. Force fields now surrounded the creature, keeping it in one section of the bay. The fields would not stop it completely if it really tried to break through, but they would slow it down. Kickstall's voice came through the speakers. He was in the observation room now, safe behind reinforced glass. Dr. Doyen, this is your last chance to reconsider. What you are about to do goes against every safety protocol. I am officially logging my objection. Noted, Doyen said. He reached the entrance to the containment area. Behind the glass, he could see other station workers gathering to watch. Some looked worried. Some looked curious. A few were probably betting on how long he would survive. Yuna stood next to him at the door. Be careful, she said. Please, I will, he promised. He took a deep breath and checked his equipment one more time. The creature was about 30 meters away, collapsed on the blood-stained floor. Its breathing was labored. It was definitely dying. Doyen opened the door and stepped inside. The door closed behind him with a soft hiss. He was alone with one of the galaxy's most dangerous predators. His heart beat fast in his chest. His hands wanted to shake, but he forced them to be still. He had said he would do this. Now he had to follow through. The creature's heads turned toward him. 8 eyes focused on this new small thing that had entered its space. It tried to rise, failed, and made a low rumbling sound that echoed off the walls. Doyen stood very still and began to do something that seemed crazy to everyone watching. He sat down on the floor. Then he waited. Doyen sat on the cold metal floor about 15 meters away from the creature. He did not move. He did not stare at it directly. He just sat there, breathing slowly and calmly. Behind the observation glass, people watched in confusion. This was not what they expected. They expected the human to try something. Use tools. Throw medicine. Run away, something. Instead, he just sat there. Kickstall's voice came through the speaker again. What are you doing? You are wasting time. The creature is dying. Doyen did not answer. He kept his attention on the thornback ravager, but not in an obvious way. He watched from the corner of his eye. In his world, in the animal kingdom, direct eye contact meant challenge. It meant threat. He could not afford to threaten this creature. The ravager's heads weaved slightly. Both sets of eyes stayed locked on Doyen. It made a low sound like rocks grinding together. Its body tensed. Claws scraped against the floor. Doyen remained perfectly still. Minutes passed, 5, then 10. The creature's aggressive posture started to relax just a little. Its heads lowered slightly. It was confused. Every predator knew what prey did. Prey ran, prey fought. Prey made noise and showed fear. This small thing did none of those things. It just sat there. Doyen started to speak. His voice was very soft and very calm. I know you're scared, he said. I know you hurt. Everything is strange here. You don't know this place. You don't know me. But I'm not going to hurt you. The creature could not understand his words, but it could understand tone. Every animal could understand tone. Soft meant not threat. Loud meant danger. Doyen kept his voice soft. I'm a doctor, he continued. My job is to help animals who are hurt. You are hurt very badly. If I don't help you soon, you will die here. I don't want that to happen. More minutes passed. Doyen's legs started to hurt from sitting in one position. He ignored the discomfort. Moving suddenly would ruin everything. The ravager's breathing had changed. It was still in pain, but it was not as panicked. One of its heads tilted slightly, watching Doyen with what might have been curiosity. Very slowly, Doyen moved. He reached into his bag and pulled out a medical scanner. The movement was careful and deliberate. No sudden motions. The scanner was small and made a soft humming sound when he turned it on. The creature's body tensed again. Both heads rose up alert. A warning growl came from deep in its chest. Doyen stopped moving. He held the scanner where the creature could see it. "This won't hurt you," he said in that same calm voice. "It's just a tool, see?" Just a tool. He waited. The creature watched the scanner. After a moment, its tension eased again. Doyen placed the scanner on the floor in front of him. Then he moved back a little. The creature watched this too. It seemed to understand that Doyen was showing it the object, proving it was not dangerous. "You're smart," Doyen said softly. "I thought you would be. Apex predators are always smart. They have to be." In the observation room, Yuna pressed her hand against the glass. She had never seen Doyen work with something this dangerous before. On Earth, he had been known for his calm approach with aggressive animals. But this was on another level entirely. "How long is he going to sit there?" asked another human named Tae Yang. He was a xenobiologist who worked on the station. He had come to watch when he heard what was happening. "As long as it takes," Yuna answered. She knew Doyen. Once he decided to help an animal, nothing would stop him. He's building trust. Or trying to. Trust? With that? Taeyang pointed at the Ravager. "That thing's brain is probably thinking about which way to bite him first." "Maybe," Yuna said. "Or maybe it's smart enough to know that Doyen is trying to help. Animals can sense intent sometimes, even dangerous ones." Down in the containment area, Doyen began to move again. This time he moved forward. Just a little, maybe half a meter. He did it so slowly that it was hard to see the movement happening. The creature watched. It did not growl this time. Doyen kept speaking in his soft voice. "I'm going to come closer now. Very slowly. If you want me to stop, I'll stop. This is your choice. I won't force you." Another slow movement forward, then another. Each one took a full minute. Doyen moved like time itself, steady and impossible to rush. The Ravager's heads followed his movement. Its eyes never left him, but it did not attack. Something in its predator brain was confused and curious. This was new behavior. This was something it had never encountered before. After 30 minutes of slow, patient movement, Doyen was only 5 meters away. Now he could see the creature more clearly. The wounds were even worse than he thought. 3 deep slashes across its side, a broken leg, possibly internal damage from the crash. It had lost a lot of blood. "You're strong," Doyen said. "Most creatures would be dead already from wounds like that. But you're still here. Still fighting. That's good. Hold on a little longer." He moved forward again, 4 meters away. 3 meters. The creature could reach him now if it wanted to. One lunge and those claws would end him. Everyone watching knew this. The room had gone completely silent. Even Kickstall had stopped making comments. Doyen reached 2 meters. Then he stopped and sat down again. He was close enough now that he could hear the creature's breathing. It was raspy and wet. Definitely internal injuries. Possibly a punctured lung. He needed to work fast. But he also needed to be careful. "I'm going to reach out now," he said. "I'm going to touch you. It might hurt a little, but I need to see how bad your injuries are. Okay?" He slowly extended his hand. The movement took almost a full minute. His hand moved through the air like it was moving through water. The nearest head lowered. It brought its face close to Doyen's hand. Hot breath washed over his skin. The creature's nose, or what served as a nose, sniffed his hand carefully. Doyen held perfectly still. He let the creature investigate him. After a long moment, the head pulled back slightly. It made a soft sound, different from the earlier growls, almost questioning. Doyen took that as permission. Very gently, he placed his hand on the creature's armored hide. It was warm and hard like stone. Under his palm, he could feel the creature's muscles tense. But it did not pull away. It did not attack. "Good," Doyen whispered. "You're doing so good." He moved his hand slowly along the creature's body, feeling for the worst wounds. The creature flinched when he touched near the deep slashes. It made a sound of pain. "I know," Doyen said. "I know it hurts. I'm sorry, but I need to clean these wounds. They're infected. Can you let me do that?" He pulled out cleaning solution and bandages from his bag. Every movement was slow and visible. He showed each item to the creature before using it. The Ravager watched everything. Its eyes stayed on Doyen, but they were not as aggressive now. There was something different in them. Perhaps the beginning of trust, or maybe just exhaustion and pain making it too weak to resist. Doyen started to clean the first wound. The creature hissed and its body went rigid, but it did not strike. It breathed hard and made sounds of distress, but it stayed still. "You're being so brave," Doyen said. "Just a little more. You can do this." In the observation room, people watched in amazement. What they were seeing should not be possible. Thornback Ravagers did not let anyone touch them. They did not trust. They did not submit. They were killing machines from a nightmare planet, yet here one was, letting a human treat its wounds. Kixtal's scales had slowly returned to their normal blue color. He was not afraid anymore. He was fascinated. "I don't understand," he said quietly. "Nothing in my training explained this. How is he doing it?" Una smiled just a little. "He's speaking a language older than words," she said. "Every living thing understands it. The language of patience, respect, and kindness." Down below, Doyen continued his work, moving carefully and slowly with the most dangerous patient he had ever treated. The cleaning solution made a soft hissing sound when it touched the wounds. The Ravager's body went tense every time, but it did not move away. It made sounds of pain that echoed through the containment area. Deep rumbling sounds that made the humans watching feel it in their bones. Doyen worked steadily. His hands were confident, even though his heart was beating fast. The wounds were deep and ugly. The edges were ragged from whatever had caused them. Probably torn metal from the crash. Some debris was still stuck in the deepest cut. "This is going to hurt," Doyen said quietly. "I have to remove this metal piece. I'm sorry." He used surgical tweezers to grip a piece of twisted metal embedded in the creature's flesh. The Ravagers' heads both turned to watch what he was doing. 8 eyes focused on his hands. Doyen pulled gently but firmly. The metal came out with a wet sound. Blood followed it. The creature roared. The sound was so loud that it hurt Doyen's ears. Both heads raised up high. Claws dug into the floor, leaving deep scratches in the metal. Behind the glass, people ducked or stepped back. They thought the creature would attack now. Any second, those jaws would close on the human and it would be over. But the creature did not attack. It roared again, expressing its pain and anger at the hurt. But then slowly its heads lowered back down. It looked at Doyen with what seemed like understanding, as if it knew that the pain was necessary. That Doyen was helping, not hurting. "Good," Doyen said. His voice shook just a little. "You're doing so good. The worst part is done." He applied pressure to stop the bleeding. The creature flinched but held still. After a minute, the bleeding slowed. Doyen used medical gel that worked on many different alien biologies. It would help the wound close and fight infection. The second wound was not as deep, but it was longer. It ran across the creature's side like someone had drawn a line with a knife. Doyen cleaned it carefully. The creature watched him work. Sometimes it made soft sounds, not quite growls, but something else. Questions, maybe. Or just sounds of discomfort. "I know," Doyen kept saying. "I know it's uncomfortable. You're being so patient. Thank you for trusting me." The third wound was the problem. It was on the creature's back, hard to reach. Doyen would have to move around to the creature's other side. That meant getting closer. That meant being in a position where both heads could easily reach him. He explained what he needed to do. "I have to move around you now. To reach that wound on your back. I'll be very slow. Is that okay?" The creature made a low sound. Doyen chose to believe it meant yes. He stood up slowly. His legs were stiff from sitting so long. He had been working for over an hour now. Time moved strangely when you were focused completely on not dying. Step by careful step, Doyen moved around the creature's body. He kept one hand lightly touching its hide, maintaining contact. In his training, he had learned that constant, gentle contact helped animals stay calm. It reminded them that you were there and meant no harm. The Ravager's heads tracked his movement. Its body shifted slightly to follow him. For a moment, Doyen was completely between both heads. They could close on him like a trap. His life was completely in this creature's claws. He kept breathing steadily. Kept moving slowly. Then he was past the danger point, around to the other side. The wound on the creature's back was visible now. It was worse than the others, deeper. He could see bone. "Oh," Doyen said softly. "Okay, this one is serious. He would need to use sutures, stitches. That meant needles. That meant more pain." He was not sure if the creature's patience would hold. Yuna's voice came through his earpiece. She had been quiet until now, just watching. "Doyen, be careful. That wound needs serious work." "I know," he said quietly. "But I can do it. I have to do it." He prepared the medical needle and synthetic thread. The needle was designed to work on tough alien skin. It would pierce the creature's armor like hide. He threaded it carefully. The This is going to hurt more than the cleaning, he told the Ravager. I have to sew the wound closed. It's the only way to help it heal. Please trust me. Please stay still. He placed his left hand gently on the creature's back near the wound. With his right hand, he positioned the needle. He pushed it through the tough skin. The creature jerked. A sound of pain burst from both mouths. The head swung toward him. Teeth flashed in the light. Doyen froze. I'm sorry, he said. I'm so sorry. But I have to continue. The heads hovered near him. He could smell the creature's breath, hot and sharp, like burning metal. One head came so close that he could have reached out and touched its teeth. Then the head pulled back. The creature settled. It made a sound that was almost like a sigh. Doyen took that as permission to continue. He worked quickly but carefully. Each stitch had to be exact. Too loose and the wound would not close. Too tight and it would cause more damage. His hands were steady despite his fear. Years of practice took over. This was just another surgery. Just another patient. Except this patient could kill him at any moment. Stitch after stitch went in. The creature stayed still, but it made sounds. Low-pained sounds that never quite became roars. It was controlling itself, choosing to endure the pain because it understood that Doyen was helping. 20 stitches. 30. The wound was large and required many. Doyen's hands started to ache from the precise work. Sweat dripped down his face. He did not wipe it away. He could not risk any sudden movements. Finally, the last stitch was in place. The wound was closed. Doyen tied off the thread and cut it. Then he applied more medical gel and covered everything with a large bandage. Done, he said. The stitches are done. The creature made a long rumbling sound. Its body relaxed in a way it had not since Doyen entered the containment area. Some of the tension left its muscles. But Doyen was not finished. There was still the broken leg to deal with. And he needed to give the creature antibiotics and pain medication, and scan for internal injuries. I need to check your leg now, he said. The broken one. Can I do that? He moved slowly toward the damaged limb. It was bent at an angle that was clearly wrong. The creature had been keeping weight off it. When Doyen touched it gently, the creature hissed. I know, he said. Broken bones hurt. I need to set it properly so it heals right. This would be the hardest part. Setting a bone required force. It required causing pain to fix the problem. And he would have to do it while the creature was awake and aware. He wished he could sedate the Ravager, but the dose required would be massive, and he did not know enough about its biology to risk it. Better to do this carefully while it was conscious than risk killing it with the wrong medicine. Doyen positioned himself carefully. He placed his hands on the leg, above and below the break. On 3, he said. 1, 2, 3. He pulled and pushed at the same time, forcing the bone back into alignment. There was a grinding sound as the broken ends met. The creature screamed. Both heads threw back and released sounds of agony that filled the entire bay. Its body thrashed. For a second, Doyen thought it would attack him. The claws on its good legs dug furrows in the floor. Its tail whipped from side to side. But then it stopped. The thrashing stopped. The creature went very still. It breathed hard, sides heaving. Its heads lowered down, and one of them came to rest very close to Doyen. They looked at each other. Human and alien, predator and prey, doctor and patient. The creature made a soft sound. Not aggressive. Not painful. Something else. Something like understanding. Doyen felt tears in his eyes, though he was not sure why. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you for trusting me. He splinted the leg quickly and wrapped it securely. Then he pulled out a medical scanner to check for internal damage. The scan showed what he feared. Bruised internal organs. A small amount of internal bleeding, but nothing immediately fatal if treated. He prepared injections. Antibiotics to fight infection. Medicine to help with internal bleeding. Pain medication that should work on the creature's system. He showed each needle to the Ravager before using it. The creature barely flinched when the needles went in. It was exhausted. The pain medication started to work quickly. Its breathing eased. The tension in its body faded. Doyen sat back and looked at his work. The wounds were cleaned and closed. The leg was set. Medicine had been given. He had done everything he could. The Ravager looked at him with half-closed eyes. Then slowly, it lowered one of its great heads and rested it on the floor near Doyen. Close enough to touch. Doyen reached out carefully and placed his hand on its head. He gently patted the armored hide. Rest now, he said. You're going to be okay. Just rest. The creature's eyes closed. Its breathing deepened. It was not unconscious, but it was finally allowing itself to relax, to let go of the fear and pain and just rest. Behind the observation glass, the room erupted in sound. People were talking all at once. Some were cheering. Some were crying. Some just stood in shocked silence. Kixtel stared at the scene below like he was seeing something impossible. In his mind, he was rewriting everything he thought he knew about veterinary medicine. Yuna wiped her eyes and smiled. She had never doubted Doyen could do it. Not really. But seeing it happen was still incredible. Down in the containment area, Doyen stood on shaking legs. The adrenaline was leaving his system now. He felt exhausted and shaky, but also satisfied. The creature would live. That was what mattered. He gathered his tools slowly, moving carefully so as not to disturb his patient. The Ravager watched him with one eye but did not move its head. When Doyen finally left the containment area, he was met with cheers and questions and people grabbing his hands. But all he wanted to do was sit down and drink some water and try to stop his hands from shaking. He had just done something that no other vet in the galaxy had ever done. He had treated an apex predator from a death world, and he had survived. More importantly, the creature had survived too. The news spread through Viridian Station like fire. Within hours, every person on the station knew what had happened. Within days, the story reached other stations, other planets, other systems. A human veterinarian had treated a thornback ravager. He had walked into a containment area with one of the galaxy's most dangerous creatures and walked out alive. More than that, he had healed it. Doyen found himself suddenly famous. People pointed at him in the corridors. They wanted to shake his hand or take pictures with him. It made him uncomfortable.
He had just been doing his job.
He did not understand what the fuss was about. But for the rest of the galaxy, it was a very big fuss indeed. The Galactic Veterinary Council called an emergency meeting. Hundreds of veterinarians from dozens of species joined the video conference. They wanted answers. They wanted to know how a human had done something that every expert said was impossible. Kixtal invited Doyen to present to the station's medical staff. The meeting room was packed. Vets and doctors and medical students filled every seat. Some stood along the walls. Everyone wanted to hear what Doyen had to say. Doyen stood at the front of the room and felt nervous. He was not good at public speaking. He was good with animals, not crowds. But Yuna gave him an encouraging smile from the front row, so he took a deep breath and began. "I'm not sure what you want me to say," he started. "I did what any vet would do. An animal was hurt. I helped it. But it was not just any animal," Kixtal said. He stood beside Doyen, acting as a moderator. "It was an apex predator from a death world. In my 40 years as a veterinarian, I was taught that such creatures could never be treated directly, that the risk was too great. You proved that teaching wrong." Doyen thought about this. Maybe the teaching was based on fear instead of understanding. He said carefully, "On my world, we have always lived alongside dangerous animals. Big cats that can kill with one bite. Reptiles that can tear you apart. Bears that can crush your skull. Snakes with venom that stops your heart. We learned to treat all of these animals, even the dangerous ones." A small furry alien raised her hand. "But how? How do you overcome the fear?" "You don't overcome it," Doyen said. "Fear is good. Fear keeps you alert and careful, but you can't let fear control you. If fear is in charge, you can't do your job. You have to respect the fear, acknowledge it, and then work despite it." He pulled up images on the screen behind him. Pictures of Earth animals. A tiger, a crocodile, a grizzly bear, a cobra. "These are all from my home planet," he said. "Each one of these animals is an apex predator in its own way. Each one can kill a human easily, but we learned to understand them. We studied their body language, their sounds, their behavior. We learned that even the most dangerous animal will respond to patience and respect." A tall, thin alien with multiple arms spoke up. "But the Ravager is not from Earth. Its body language is alien to you. How did you know what it was thinking?" "I didn't, not completely," Doyen admitted. "But some things are universal. Pain looks the same in most creatures. Fear looks the same. Aggression looks the same. I watched its body, watched how it moved, how it reacted. I listened to the sounds it made. And I made my best guesses." "You guessed?" The alien sounded shocked. "You risked your life on guesses?" "Educated guesses," Doyen said. "Based on years of experience with dangerous animals? Yes, the Ravager is alien, but it's still an animal. It still has instincts. It still feels pain and fear. Those things cross species boundaries. Kickstal projected a video on the screen. It was footage from the containment area, showing Doyen sitting still for those long minutes. This is what fascinated me most, Kickstal said. You did nothing. You just sat there. Can you explain why? I was letting it study me, Doyen said. Predators are curious. They watch potential prey to understand if it's dangerous or not. By sitting still, I was showing that I was not a threat. I was also not acting like prey. Prey runs or fights. I did neither. That confused it. Confusion can lead to curiosity. Curiosity can lead to tolerance. He advanced to the next slide. I also avoided direct eye contact at first. In many species, staring is a challenge. It's a threat. I needed to show submission without showing weakness. There's a difference, a human in the back raised his hand. Doyen recognized him. It was Taeyang, the xenobiologist. Can you talk about your speaking to the creature? Why do that if it can't understand your words? Tone, Doyen said simply. Animals understand tone even if they don't understand words. A soft, calm voice signals non-aggression. It's soothing. I've seen it work on earth animals that don't even have ears in the traditional sense. Something about vibration, about rhythm, about the energy of a calm voice crosses species lines. The questions continued for over an hour. Doyen did his best to answer each one. He talked about reading body language, about moving slowly, about showing your tools to the animal before using them, about the importance of patience. Finally, an older alien vet asked the question that everyone was thinking. Do you think other species can learn to do what you did? Or is this something only humans can do? Doyen considered this carefully. I think anyone can learn it. But there might be an advantage for humans specifically. We come from what the galaxy calls a death world. Earth has many, many dangerous species. Humans evolved alongside predators. We were prey once. We learned to understand predators because our lives depended on it. That knowledge got passed down through our history. So maybe we have an instinct for it that other species don't have. But that doesn't mean others can't learn, he added quickly. Instinct is just a starting point. Knowledge and practice matter more. I've spent years studying animal behavior. Any species could do the same. Kickstal stepped forward. I would like to learn, he said. His scales flushed a color that meant determination. If Dr. Doyen is willing to teach, I am willing to learn. I spent 40 years being afraid of apex predators. I would like to spend the next 40 years understanding them instead. Other voices joined in. Aliens from several species volunteered to study under Doyen. They wanted to learn Earth's methods of veterinary medicine. They wanted to understand this approach that valued trust over force. After the meeting, Yuna found Doyen in the corridor. He looked exhausted. You did good in there, she said. I'm not a teacher, he said. I'm a vet. You're both now, she said. Like it or not, you just changed veterinary medicine for the entire galaxy. Over the next few days, more news arrived. The Galactic Veterinary Council officially recognized Earth's veterinary methods as valid and worth studying. They requested that human vets be sent to various stations to teach their techniques. Medical schools wanted to add courses about Earth's approach to animal care. Doyen found himself scheduled to give more presentations. He also started training sessions with alien vets who wanted to learn. Kickstal was his first student and one of his best. The Veltraxian overcame his fear slowly but steadily. He practiced with smaller, less dangerous creatures first, learning to read their body language and build trust. Meanwhile, the Thornback Ravager was healing. Doyen visited it every day to check its progress and change its bandages. Each time, the creature greeted him with soft sounds and let him work without resistance. The bond they had formed that first day remained strong. Other station workers started to come watch Doyen work with the Ravager. They wanted to see the impossible relationship between human and death world predator. What they saw changed their understanding of what was possible. One evening, Yuna brought Taeyang to watch one of Doyen's checkups. The Ravager was walking now, using its healed leg carefully. It still wore bandages on its side, but the wounds were closing well. When Doyen entered the containment area, the creature made a sound almost like a purr. It walked over to him and lowered both heads. Doyen patted each head gently, then began his examination. It trusts him completely, Taeyang said, amazed. I've studied predator behavior for years, and I've never seen anything like this. Humans from death worlds, Yuna said quietly. We understand death world creatures because we are death world creatures. We know what it's like to be dangerous and scared at the same time. We know that claws and teeth don't mean you can't feel pain or form bonds. The galaxy sees death worlds as places of horror, Taeyang added, but humans see them as home. That changes everything. We're not afraid of apex predators the way other species are. We respect them, yes, but we also see them as, what, equals? Kindred spirits? Maybe, Yuna said. Or maybe we just see them as what they are. Animals. Living things that can suffer and need help sometimes. Doyen doesn't see the Ravager as a monster. He sees it as a patient. Down in the containment area, Doyen finished his examination. The Ravager was healing faster than expected. Its alien biology was impressive. In another week, it would be ready to be transported back to its home world. You're doing great, Doyen told it. Soon you can go home. The creature made a sound that was almost sad. Doyen understood. In a strange way, they had bonded. The Ravager probably did not want to leave any more than Doyen wanted it to go. But that was the job. Heal them and let them return to their lives. You'll be okay, Doyen promised. You're strong. You'll heal completely and go back to your world. Back to where you belong. The Ravager leaned its head against Doyen one more time. A gesture of trust and thanks that crossed all species boundaries. Behind the glass, the observers watched in silence. They were seeing something new in the galaxy. A human showing that Death World origins did not make you a monster. They made you someone who understood monsters. And understanding could build bridges that fear never could. 3 months passed. Viridian Station had changed in many ways during that time. The medical bay had a new section dedicated to training vets in Earth-based methods. Doyen found himself teaching more than treating, though he still made time for patients. The station became known throughout the sector as a place where even the most dangerous creatures could receive care. Doyen's office had changed too. Commendations from various alien governments covered one wall. Thank you messages from veterinary schools lined another. His desk was buried under requests for consultations, training programs, and speaking engagements. He tried to answer all of them, but there were too many. Yuna helped him manage the flood of attention. She organized his schedule and filtered out the less important requests. You're famous now, she told him one morning. The human who tamed the Ravager, that's what they call you on the news feeds. I didn't tame it, Doyen said, looking up from his medical reports. I just helped it. Try telling that to the galaxy, Yuna said with a smile. You're a symbol now. You represent something important. Humans proving we're not just good at fighting, we're good at healing too. That afternoon, Doyen received a message that made him stop everything he was doing. It came from Krath 7, the Ravager's homeworld. The message was translated from their language, which was mostly sounds and body movements, so the translation was rough. But the meaning was clear. The Ravager had returned home. It had healed fully, and its people wanted to thank Doyen. In their culture, such messages were almost never sent. Thornback Ravagers were solitary and territorial. They did not form bonds easily. They certainly did not express gratitude to other species, but this one had. And through it, its entire species acknowledged what Doyen had done. Yuna read the message over his shoulder. That's incredible, she said softly. Do you know how rare this is? The Ravagers have never communicated with any other species before. Not like this. Doyen felt a warmth in his chest. The Ravager remembered him. It had told its own kind about him. In some small way, he had made a difference not just to one creature but to an entire species' relationship with the larger galaxy. That evening, he taught a class to 6 alien veterinarians. They were all different species, all different levels of experience, but they all wanted to learn. They all wanted to overcome their fears and help creatures they had once thought untouchable. Kixtal was among them. He had become Doyen's most dedicated student. The Veltraxian had changed dramatically over the past 3 months. His scales no longer paled with fear when dangerous creatures arrived. He approached each case with careful confidence. Today's lesson focused on reading body language in aggressive patients. Doyen showed videos of various creatures and asked the students to identify signs of stress, fear, and aggression. Here, he said, pausing a video of a 6-legged predator from a swamp world. What do you see? The tail is raised, said Kixtal. That indicates alertness. But the head is low. That's submission or uncertainty. Good, Doyen said. What else? A small alien with large eyes spoke up. The ears are back. In many species, that's a fear response. Excellent, Doyen said. So what does this tell us about the creature's mental state? It's scared but trying to appear confident, another student said. It's defensive, not aggressive. It will attack if threatened but prefers not to. Exactly, Doyen said. So how do you approach a creature in this state? They discussed strategies, moving slowly, speaking softly, giving the creature space to retreat if needed, not cornering it. All the techniques that Doyen had learned over years of working with frightened, dangerous animals. After class, Kixtal stayed behind. I have a patient, he said, a venomous creature from Toxis Prime. The cargo ship that transported it is demanding we treat it immediately, but my staff refuses. They say it's too dangerous. Its venom can kill in minutes. And you want to try treating it yourself, Doyen said. With your supervision, yes, Kixtal said. I think I'm ready. But I want you there in case I make mistakes. Doyen felt proud. 3 months ago, Kixtal would have been the first to refuse. Now he was volunteering. When? Tomorrow morning, Kixtal said. If you're available. I'll be there, Doyen promised. The next morning, they stood outside a containment area. Inside was a creature that looked like a mix between a spider and a scorpion. It had too many legs and a tail that dripped glowing venom. Its mandibles clicked angrily. It was clearly distressed. Kixtal took a deep breath. His scales flickered with nervousness, but they did not turn pale. He was afraid, but he was not letting fear control him. Remember everything we practiced, Doyen said quietly. Read its body language. Move slowly. Show it you're not a threat. Kixtal nodded and entered the containment area. Doyen watched from outside, ready to intervene if needed. But he did not think he would need to. Kixtal had learned well. The Veltraxian sat down just as Doyen had with the Ravager. He waited patiently while the venomous creature watched him. He spoke in soft tones even though the creature could not understand his words. He showed his tools before using them. It took time. It took patience. But slowly, carefully, Kixtal approached the creature. He treated its wounds. He gave it medicine. And he did it all without getting stung. When Kixtal emerged from the containment area, his scales were bright blue with pride. I did it, he said, almost disbelieving. I actually did it. You did, Doyen said, smiling. You're a good student. You're a good teacher, Kixtal replied. Thank you, Doyen. Thank you for showing us that fear is not the end, that understanding is possible. Word of Kixtal's success spread quickly. More vets asked for training. The program expanded. Soon, Viridian Station was training dozens of vets from various species in Earth-based methods. More human vets arrived at the station to help with the teaching. They brought knowledge from Earth's long history of working with dangerous animals. They shared stories and techniques. The exchange of information benefited everyone. One day, Doyen received another difficult case. A creature from a high-gravity world had been injured in a mining accident. It was massive and covered in armor-like plates. The mining company had sedated it heavily, but it was waking up. And it was not happy. 3 alien vets had already refused the case. They said it was too dangerous, even with sedation wearing off slowly. Doyen looked at the creature through the observation glass. It was thrashing weakly, confused and in pain. No one should suffer like that, he thought. Death World origin or not, Una appeared beside him. She had been working in another part of the station, but had heard about the new case. You're going in, aren't you? She asked. I have to, Doyen said. Look at it. It's suffering. I know, Una said. That's why I'm not trying to stop you. That's who you are. That's who humans are. We see suffering and we want to help even when it's dangerous, even when it would be easier to look away. Is that a Death World trait? Doyen asked. Maybe, Una said. Or maybe it's just a Doyen trait. Either way, be careful. The galaxy needs more people like you. Doyen gathered his medical supplies. He checked his equipment. Then he entered the containment area, approaching carefully and calmly. The massive creature's eyes focused on him. It made a sound like grinding rocks. Doyen sat down at a safe distance and began his patient approach. Just like always. Slow movements, soft voice, respect and understanding. Behind the glass, a crowd had gathered to watch. Humans and aliens stood side by side. Some were his students. Some were just curious. All of them wanted to see the human vet work his gentle magic one more time. Kixtal stood at the front of the crowd, his scales bright with anticipation. Beside him was Taeyang, recording data for his research. Una was there too, proud and a little worried, as always. This is what humans bring to the galaxy. Taeyang said quietly. Not just strength, not just stubbornness, but compassion, the courage to care even when it's dangerous, the willingness to reach out to creatures that terrify everyone else. Death World Origins, Chixtal said thoughtfully. I used to think that meant humans were dangerous. Now I understand it means you understand danger. You grew up with apex predators, so you know how to speak their language. You know that teeth and claws don't mean a creature can't feel pain or fear or gratitude. We're all just animals, Yuna said, watching Doyen work. Different worlds, different shapes, different languages. But we all feel. We all suffer. We all need help sometimes. Doyen gets that better than anyone I've ever met. Down in the containment area, Doyen had made contact with the creature. His hand rested gently on its armored hide. The creature had stopped thrashing. It watched him with wary but no longer aggressive eyes. I've got this, Doyen said softly, more to himself than anyone else. It was something he said before treating difficult patients. A reminder that he had the knowledge, the skills, and the courage to do what needed to be done. He began his work, moving with practiced confidence. The creature flinched but held still. Trust was forming, slow but steady. The galaxy was learning. Death worlds produced more than warriors. They produced healers who understood suffering because they had lived alongside danger. They produced people who could look at the most terrifying creatures in existence and see patients who needed care. Viridian Station had become a beacon for this new understanding. And at its center was a quiet human vet who had simply wanted to help an injured animal. His actions had changed veterinary medicine across dozens of worlds. His compassion had opened doors that fear had kept closed. The healing had just begun, but already the galaxy was different. Already fewer creatures were being left to die because they were too dangerous to treat. Already vets from many species were learning that courage and compassion could go hand in hand. In the containment area, Doyen finished treating his patient. The massive creature rumbled softly and lowered its head in what might have been thanks. Doyen patted its armored hide gently. You did good, he told it. Rest now. You're going to be okay. Behind the glass, the watching crowd began to applaud, humans and aliens together, celebrating not a victory over fear, but a victory through understanding. Doyen gathered his tools and prepared to leave the containment area. Tomorrow there would be more patients, more students, more chances to show the galaxy that Death World Origins were nothing to fear. They were something to learn from. He had said it calmly when the Ravager had arrived, and he would say it again for every difficult case that came his way. I got this, and he did.